What's up, y'all? So, today, I just wanted to talk about, I don't know, a couple different things. The main thing is staying focused on your purpose and not really letting people deter you too far from that. And understanding that people are going to act within their nature and you can't really control any of that. You just kind of got to control how you react to that. They kind of go hand in hand. I got my water this time. Let me take a little sip. I ain't gonna lie, today tested the fuck out my patience. Definitely dealt with an interesting. Definitely dealt with a interesting group of people today. All around, you know what I'm saying, and it just made me think a little bit about kind of, I don't know, just these topics and basically what I want to talk about. So the first one I want to talk about, which is basically not letting people distract you too much from your purpose, and like, okay, so basically there I think are two different groups of people. There are people who are kind of like, they know what their purpose is, they are like focused on it, they're working on it, or they're about to start working on it. The people that are like kind of driven towards a certain thing. And then there are the other people who, and it's not a bad thing, they either don't know what their purpose is, or they like kind of know, but they're not like 100%. They're still in that phase of like trying to figure things out. Within that group of people, there are other people, different groups, I feel like, where there are people who are just completely oblivious. They're just kind of like floating through life, right? And I feel like those type of people are, depending on their disposition, some of the most dangerous people. And I would implore you to not necessarily, like, if you have people in your life like that, or if you are those types of people, whatever it is, like, again, it's not a bad thing necessarily. But if you are a person that's purpose driven, I'd imagine you're here right now. You know what I mean? I feel like if you're a purpose driven person, or you know what your purpose is, or you're working to try to find out what your purpose is, be aware and somewhat wary of the people who don't know what their purpose is and they're just kind of like floating through life, right? It's one thing to not know what your purpose is just yet and try to figure it out. It's another thing to just be like floating around. I feel like the people that just kind of float are the most dangerous, and the reason why is because they might end up doing some shit because they don't have a goal, just because they're just doing whatever, and you might end up in some shit that might fuck up your purpose and your goal and you trying to be on that path towards that, just because you were around that person or you interacted with that person or some shit happened with that person, right? If you know you're trying to do something and you're working towards that, you're probably not going to do too many things that are going to deviate from that path. You're probably not going to be doing a bunch of like wild shit that can lead to you getting incarcerated or ending up dead or whatever the case, you know what I mean? So the people who are just kind of floating through life, they don't have a purpose. They don't have anything that they're like, that's guiding them towards anything. So they're just kind of, whatever the fuck happens. They might end up doing some shit that could lead to you getting incarcerated. They might end up doing some shit that might lead to you getting, you know, in a bad situation or whatever the case. Let's just say, right, I've had encounters with people like that throughout my life. And one of the things to also just kind of be mindful of is like, no matter what that situation may lead to, you have to remind yourself, I'm working towards something. I'm trying to make my life mean something, right? I'm trying to do something with myself. I'm going somewhere. I can't let some little shit that doesn't serve my goal, my purpose, take me away from that. You know what I mean? Because if somebody who doesn't have that same goal that you have fucks your shit up, it doesn't matter what happens to them. You still have to live with the fact that you fucked up everything you were trying to work on over some dumb shit. Whether it was you went out to do some shit you shouldn't have been doing with them, or, you know what I'm saying, you come in contact with somebody out in public or whatever and some shit gets sparked. Whatever the case. You just have to be mindful of the path that you're trying to walk, and the shit that adds to that, go for it. The stuff that takes away from it or might take you off of that path, cut that shit out, bro. Because it's not worth it. I can guarantee you it's not worth it. But back to that point of, regardless, you have to understand and take responsibility for the fact that you are in control of how your life goes to a certain extent. Not 100%. There's a lot of factors we can't control. But as far as how you react to things that are presented to you, that's kind of your responsibility. Like, nobody else can make you do anything. You allow yourself to react in a certain way. And so you have to take responsibility for that. Like, it's not, oh, so-and-so made me mad. No, you allowed yourself to react to a situation based off of how you decided to, like if somebody did some shit to you that you didn't really agree with, you have a bunch of choices of how you can react to it. One of those choices is just letting that shit be and just walking away from it. If somebody comes to you like, hey, bro, let's go do some shit that you know you're not supposed to be, wrapped up in, you have the choice to just be like, nah, I ain't really doing that. And you going about your way. If, you know what I'm saying, we all have moments where maybe we do some shit that we really shouldn't have been doing. There's definitely a possibility it could deviate us away from our path. And it happens to the best of us, you know what I mean? But it's important to try to just get better and, I guess, practice in those moments of trying to not let your sight drift too far away from what it is you're trying to work on. Again, I ain't trying to preach. I'm gonna be real. I struggle with this at times, but I'm working on it. And these are things that I've learned on my journey of trying to work on it and just try to be a better version of myself. You know what I mean? So that leads me to another point. Let me get a little bit of water. Of like, we can't control what other people do. There's a lot of factors that are at play in our life and how our life goes that we just really don't have any control over, right? So the best thing that we can try to do is control how we react to these things. You also have to accept that some people's nature is just going to be their nature. Regardless of how you think they should act, how you think they should react to certain things, they're going to do what they're going to do. Like, you can't get mad at a scorpion for stinging you, right? That's just in its nature. Regardless of how you think the scorpion should react and all these other factors, it doesn't matter. That's just what it's going to do. So you have to understand, like, yo, this person is going to do a specific thing. I have to prepare myself, if I'm going to interact with that type of person, to make sure I'm not doing any shit that is going to lead me astray, right? If it's a friend or family member that you know just really ain't on shit, you gotta know, hey, maybe I'm cool with them, we chilling, whatever, but I know I don't need to be chilling with them too much because they're not on shit. They're not gonna be doing nothing. And I know that's gonna take away from me trying to work on what I need to work on. So maybe you limit what activities you engage in with them. You know what I mean? Maybe you limit the amount of time that you spending with them. If it's people out here, you're gonna encounter assholes everywhere. You're gonna encounter lazy ass people that don't want to do shit. You're gonna encounter just the full spectrum of what humanity has to offer when you step outside, right? But let's say if it's an asshole, yes, maybe they shouldn't be a fucking big ass dickwad, but at the end of the day, it's like, you can't control how they act. You may say, oh, they shouldn't have reacted like this over that. It wasn't that big of a deal. It's some little shit. They did. They're going to. You got niggas that just ready to crash out about anything. And so it's like, You have to understand. A nigga that's gonna crash out, what do you expect them to do? They're gonna crash out. So don't even engage. Like, they talking some shit, they saying whatever, let that shit slide. Fuck if a nigga tries to call you pussy, whatever. You gotta be focused on your purpose. You gotta be focused on what it is that you gotta do. Like, fuck that trying to prove you hard shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have some people around you that'll be like, you know what I'm saying, trying to call you pussy or say that you're, you know what I'm saying, you're this and you're that because you don't engage in activities that don't serve your fucking purpose. And it's just like, bro, any person that's out here trying to say that you're anything other than fucking focused or intelligent because you're not engaging in dumbass shit that doesn't have anything to do with what you're trying to get to, that's a red flag right there. That's just letting you know, oh, okay, this is the person I need to be around. If it's some motherfucker that's out here on some raw and you're not trying to engage in that, you're just trying to be like, hey, look, hey, this dude's talking all that shit, cool, whatever, you got it, bro. I'm going to be going this way. And if you got people around you that's like, oh, you just going to let them talk to you like that, you's a bitch, fuck them niggas, bro, respectfully. It's like, just let them do their thing, and whatever their opinions about it are, they can be that. But as long as you know what you're trying to work towards, it doesn't matter. You just, it's once you decide that you want to live your life with a purpose, it comes with a certain amount of responsibility, right? Because there's so many people out here that just decide to live and, like I said, just float. You know what I mean? It's easy to float. You ain't got to plan. You ain't got to do shit. You just got to wake up and you just out in this bitch raw as hell. You know what I mean? You don't have to do anything. But when you make that decision that you want to live your life with a purpose, you have a goal for your life, you have a specific vision for how you want to see yourself in 10, 15, 20 years, that comes with a level of responsibility because nobody else is going to make that shit happen for you except for you. So if you say, hey, I want to work on these things, nobody's going to make you work on that shit. Nobody's going to make you work on yourself. Nobody's going to help you develop you except for you. And so at the end of the day, if you're going to dedicate yourself to this, that dedication also comes with cutting out the shit and the extra noise that doesn't serve that purpose. That's why people say, oh, it's so hard to be able to get to these certain levels and stuff like that. Because it's like, again, if you got a bunch of people they just want to party, they just want to drink, smoke, whatever. Ain't nothing wrong with drinking, smoking, partying, doing all that shit. Do all that stuff. But in moderation. Don't let that shit take away from the main shit you're trying to work on. And people struggle with that a lot. Where it's like, they want to be out here hanging with their boys, their girls, whatever, at the club, smoking, drinking, doing all that shit. And maybe their friends are those people that are just floating. So they want to do that shit all the time. That shit feels good. That's cool. They chilling. They want to do that shit all the time. You can't be doing that shit all the time if you have a purpose, you have something you're trying to work towards. And so you got to cut some of that shit out. You have some of those friends that's really just trying to crash out over every little fucking thing. They out here, somebody look at them wrong, they trying to crash out. Bro, it's not that deep. But if you hanging with them all the time, you might end up in a situation you're not even trying to be in, simply because you got the wrong people around you. And you might end up in a situation where it's like, yo, the people you surround yourself with end up becoming your voice in your head, right? So if you're constantly surrounding yourself with a bunch of motherfuckers that ain't trying to do shit but crash out, you might have a moment of weakness. Somebody say something to you wrong, you trying to crash out because you got all the motherfuckers around you talking shit. And you might end up in a situation you're not trying to be in just because you haven't surrounded yourself with the right people and you haven't practiced saying no to certain shit and walking away from certain shit like you should have, right? The last thing you want is for your life to be thrown away, whether you end up in jail, whether you end up worse, whatever the case is. Or even if it's not that, if an opportunity may end up messed up because things didn't go the way they should have gone, right? The last thing you want to do is end up living a life you don't want to live because of some decisions you made that you're going to end up having to regret for the rest of your life. We all do shit we regret. That's just how it is. You can't go through life without at least doing something that you're probably going to regret at a later point. It just is what it is. But, you know what I'm saying? We all make mistakes, and I understand that. But the most important thing is, like, you have to learn from those mistakes. I've done shit I regret. I've done shit where I'm like, yo, that was stupid as fuck. That could have definitely ended up with me being in a really, really bad situation. And it really could have taken me away from my path and really fucked a whole lot of shit up for me. Really ruined my life. I've had moments like that, right? But the most important part is to, like, learn from that and understand, hey, the next time I'm presented with a situation like that, this is how I want to conduct myself. I didn't like how I conducted myself in that situation. I don't like to represent myself that way. I don't want that to be how I move on certain things in certain situations like that. So you really just got to understand, like, yo, I don't give a fuck what he or she or they said, did, whatever, how they reacted, how I felt like they should have reacted. You have to understand you're only responsible for you and how you act and how you react to things. Things are going to happen to you. People are going to say, do whatever. And you just have to understand, like, yo, I'm going somewhere. I got things I have planned. I have a fucking life I'm trying to build right now. And I can't let shit fuck that up. I can't let anybody mess that up. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's your family, friends, nobody. You have to stay focused on your purpose, and you have to also understand that, like, people's nature is just going to be what it is. Once you learn how somebody is, after you've been around people long enough, you start to kind of understand, like, yo, I know what to expect from these people that I surround myself with, right? And so it's like, that doesn't mean to count them out. That doesn't mean that, you know what I'm saying, that you just discredit them or think that they're not capable of doing anything more. But don't get your hopes up, is essentially what I'm saying. Like, don't put yourself in a situation where you have to depend on them when they've shown you constantly that they aren't to be depended on in situations like that. Like, if you have somebody in your life, for instance, where they said they would do this one thing, and every single time they said they was going to do that thing, they never did the thing. Don't put yourself in a position where you are depending on them doing that one thing they've never done before. It's just going to be in their nature that they aren't going to do that, or they're unreliable in that space. So it's just like, even if you feel like they should be able to be reliable in that, they should be able to be trusted with certain things like that. People's nature it's just going to just expect them to act in their nature. But that doesn't have anything to do with you. You have to perform and act the way that you want to. You have to stay focused on what you want to, because, again, I probably said this shit 50 times already, but it's like, you're only responsible for you and where you go with things. All you can do is try to set yourself up to stay on your path as much as you can. Like, we all deviate from it. There's moments where you may fall off the path, but it's about you getting back on it. We all have moments of weakness. We all make mistakes. We're human. Nobody's perfect. We're all on the same journey of just trying to learn how to be the best versions of ourselves. And that shit, it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So, but the most important thing is, when you make a mistake and you know you made a mistake, and you're sitting there, you're like, damn, like, I really shouldn't have done that. Learn from it. That's the most important thing, because we all make mistakes. But if you don't learn from it, you're guaranteed to just make it over and over. Like, you're just bound to keep making them same mistakes. And that's how you get stuck in circles. That's how you get stuck just doing the same thing over and over and over. And we can't do that, because you can't make progress that way. So, I don't want to yap too much. It's just some shit that, I wanted to talk about today. Trying to think. I guess, just to recap. First point. Stay focused on your purpose. Don't let nobody, like, make you deviate from your path. And just practice trying to remain focused on your long-term goals and just your vision, especially when you're in challenging situations. And also just take inventory of the type of people you have around you. Are they the people that are, focused on a purpose, or they're trying to find out what their purpose is? Or are they people that are just kind of like, just kind of floating around? They don't really know what's going on. They don't really care to know what's going on. It's not a bad thing either way. Just take inventory of the people that you have around. And also, again, take inventory of who you are. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I feel like you're probably a purpose-driven person if you're here. But it is what it is. Second point is, just understand that you're only responsible for your actions and how you react to certain things. You can't change anybody's nature. They can only change if they want to change. You can help somebody, but they can only change if they want to. So you can't be upset because people didn't act the way you wanted them to, or do what you wanted them to. You just have to accept that people are going to act within their nature. Just remember, you can't get mad at a scorpion for stinging you. It's in its nature. It's what it's going to do every single time. So you just have to take that into account and just, move accordingly, and just be observant of the people you have around you and the people you come in contact with, and just be like, yo, I understand the type of person you may be. I'm gonna move accordingly. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna expect you to act differently. Only thing I can do is just make sure that I'm acting accordingly, and that I'm staying, again, focused on my goals and focused on my purpose. That's all I got to say, man. Stay hydrated. Love y'all. See y'all later in the next one.